Welcome to a tech table session on trying to restore this Pioneer DVL 909 Laserdisc player. This might be the first video in a series about this topic. It could also be a one-off. I'm not sure yet. I thought it was needed to try to document the process of fixing some stuff with this machine here, because there's a lot of questions out there on the internet about how do I do A and how do I do B with this machine, because it does have a lot of age-related issues that is quite common on this player. For example, loop skipping in here, worn gears, pinion gears, rubber belts that needs to be replaced, or grip rings that are worn out. Just a lot of things age-related, a lot of things also design flaws with the machine. And do remember, this machine was released back in, what was that, in the end of January in 1998, and that's almost 30 years ago. So of course there will be some issues with this player because of 30 years of use. So the common issues with this machine I have here is that it has a looping issue. I already replaced the rubber belt in here, so the loading mechanism is all fine. The next part in here is that we have some racks that the pinion gears they travel on, as in the laser assembly. Those are worn down. That could be due to dried lubrication, improper maintenance, anything related to age, for example. And if they are not well lubricated, then they will start to wear down eventually, because there's a lot of torque going between forth and back on the laser assembly when it's traveling at high speed, or skipping to next tracks on laser discs, and this could cause wear and tear on those teeth that you see on the rack itself. So what we have here is a complete second unit of a DVL 919. The loading mechanism and the elevator block, everything about it in here is identical to what is inside the DVL 909. The main difference between the two players is, of course, that the 919 has DTS support, but also some different PCBs inside the machine to support that. But the loading mechanism itself in here is identical, so I can take parts of this donor unit here and put it inside that machine. So the first thing I would like to do in here is actually try to get some of the stuff out that I want to do. There's also an example I'll show you of what issues I have, which will come up in a moment here. And then once we are done with disassembling this unit with the parts I need, we'll do a comparison and see how fair are these parts compared to the parts inside this machine. So without further ado, let's get started. So this is the DVL 919 donor unit I got recently, and from first impression it doesn't really look like there's anything wrong with it, but there must be a reason why it was sold like this, so I'm hesitant to just replace this entire block inside the Laserdisc player, mostly because I don't know what could be wrong with it if there's anything wrong. So the easiest thing to do here would be for me to take out the parts that I need and keep the rest for the eventual next repair session. What I would need from this right now would be the top plate here, including the alignment sensor and the CA rack inside of it. It's easier to just take it out as a one part and then put it into the player, because this is all factory calibrated. As you can see, there are some small glue points here for the alignment, and if I just take out the alignment sensor or the CA rack separately, they will lose alignment, and I'll have to work with trying to fix that on the other player if I replace the individual parts. So yeah, much easier to just take out the whole part. So that means I'll have to take out the nylon guiding block here. There's a small spring. Once I remove the spring, it should just fall down. Next to that, there is this small wire here that I need to remove, and that will give me access to just pull this out. And once that's done, the lower shaft will be removed, and then I can access the lower CA rack and disconnect that too. Now that the spring has been removed, then I can unplug this part in here, which I'll need another tool for. Sorry. Now that the spring has been removed, you can see here it's not locking or anything in here, so I should be able to just push out this small connector here. There we go. Let's disconnect it. Let's see if we can pull this out. There we go. So with that, we should be able to remove the entire top block. Oops. Tight screws. And with that, let's see if we can just slide out this thing. Lock. There we go. Well, like you can see here, we have the CA rack. There's some old grease in here, and then we have the alignment sensor in here. So no touching on that. We can just take that apart and put it aside. Laser assembly down here. It does look like it's the CLD laser assembly as the laser disc laser pickup here, because it has a it's not completely round laser pickup. It's slightly oval, so it has straight lines on the sides. So this should be way easier to disassemble instead of having to rotate the entire assembly over here. So the next thing would be to remove the metal shaft. Then I will be able to access the laser assembly and be able to disconnect it. Cool. Let's put that over here. Now, I don't want to touch this with my bare fingers, so give me a moment. Just slides out like that. And then we should be able to... I think I'll just take out the M holder and everything like this, because I don't think I can access this properly here. Well, we can certainly try, but everything is protected by that cap. So let me just put this here, and then we will get to that in a moment. First I want to disconnect that CA rack. And the rule with these are, do not over tighten them when you put them back. Just enough so they get some resistance. Go there. Of course, it must sit straight so we can keep the alignment, but it should be straightforward with installing this on the other machine. Let's see if I can get in there without building it. There we go. We'll put that over here next to the shaft. For the next part in here, I would like to remove the M holder and the pinion gears, because when we do a replacement of the CA racks in here over to the new player, what you could risk is that with the laser pickup itself, it could have some wear that could be causing that grind on the gears, and the teeth on the CA racks. So I would like to replace that so I don't have to worry about that in the future. So the procedure is we will remove that small copper spring. We will need to take that with us. There will be sitting a another screw in there and 2 screws on the engine itself. The 4 screws, they have 2 different kinds of threading, so it's very important to keep the grey colored ones on the motor assembly, as you see here, and the others on the M holder. So let me just get something to stabilize that. Put some cardboard underneath there. Some might ask, hey, why don't you just put over the laser assembly on the other machine? Well, the thing is that they all have their own individual factory calibration with the machine itself, so not every laser assembly is equal. That means if I move this over to another player, I would have to calibrate the signals coming in from it so it actually works with that machine. The easiest way for me to do this is to just take the parts I need and then move them over. Let's try to see if we can remove that M holder. There you go, 1 screw. No. Okay. Put that over there. Now, let's take that one. And now, important bit, do not twist this stuff while you unscrew it. Yeah, get in there. Okay, that was one. Let's see if we can get the other one. Oh. There we go. Okay, so what you want to do is to slightly bend back without damaging the ribbon cable in the back here, and then just wiggle it out. There you go. And we can put this back in here and let it rest easily on that. So now we have the small gears here. Very important. Always do an inspection after and make sure they're clean. So when installing the pinion gear and the M holder back on the new assembly, make sure they're all clean. For lubrication, I'd recommend using Superlube PTFE, just a film layer. Do not put any more than that on it. It's better to do it from the CA rack itself, so it just catches on as it plays along. But make sure that there is no obstruction while they spin. They need to be able to spin freely, and also make sure to inspect the M holder itself. It's very important that there are no cracks in it. Yep, all looks good. So that's basically it for the donor unit here. So let me just take these parts here. Very important to keep this connected together. Here we go. And I'll have to do a cleanup of these parts before we move ahead to the next step. For the degreasing process, I'll start out with the top plate here. I'll be using a cotton tip with isopropyl to clean off the parts, and then we'll need to apply some new grease. Now, the important part here is that, well, for plastic to plastic or plastic to metal, it's, in my opinion, better to use something like Superlube PTFE, plastic safe grease. For metal to metal contacts, like on this shaft here that holds the laser assembly, you would be using white lithium grease, of course. The reason why is that in most cases there is petroleum in lithium grease. That means that if it gets in contact with plastic, it can degrade over time. So if you don't get the right lithium grease that's plastic safe, then you might risk it degrading the plastic parts that you so dearly want to keep working. Anyhow, we will need to remove the grease. I've already removed some of this part here. We need to remove it on this side and apply some new stuff. Here you would want to use PTFE grease, because that's where the plastic hinge of the laser assembly travels over to keep it locked to side B here. We would also want to clean the part in here that holds the alignment sensor. And don't force it, just take it out slowly, and then of course using clean parts in here so we can pick up the goo. And then apply some PTFE lubricant in there as well. Let me just swap this around. For the metal shaft here for side A, super easy clean, just take a dab of isopropyl and then just clean it. That also means I can touch it without being scared of the grease. So now we have that, and let's continue with side A right here. There's some smudge and dirt on it too. Let's use the other side here that's not been touching the lithium grease, and let's start cleaning it. As you can see, it's super dirty. Yeah. Some dirt over on this side here. Let's just take that. Cool. Let's put that away and let's make room for the big machine. Okay, now it's loose and now we can remove the cover. So here's the machine without the cover on. First off, I would like to power cycle it, and then I will demonstrate the issue that it actually has. So I'll plug in the power. Okay, then we'll push play. If we switch over to side B, you will hear even more noise as it's extremely warm up there. Track here and skip to next chapter. It will also grind a lot on the gears, but it works. Upon further inspection, I found that the teeth are super worn in here, so the best thing I think to do with this unit is actually just replace that top plate. So let's stop it. And then I'll remove the disc. Reinserting the tray. Let's see here. I need some light. Nope. And then we need to put it in here. Good. And then we need to remove this part here and also disconnect the wire over here. So first, let's remove this piece. Also, same important thing, do not over tighten this when reinstalling it again. And this is of course full of grease. There we go. See. There you go. Do not let that disappear. It's impossible to find again afterwards. Okay. Let's try to see if we can disconnect that wire. And we got it out. And again, it's blue wire this way. So now we have that removed. We can then move it from this cable holder. There we go. And disconnect the top part. So first remove the grounding. Here we go. I'm going to remove the stopper that holds the LD while it's in place, so I should be able to remove this piece easier now. There we go. Here we go. Now we can see. So this whole part here is super worn on this top side here. Other than that, everything else looks fine, but I will swap it regardless. Now I'm also able to access the whole laser mechanism at the bottom, so we can go ahead and focus on that. First I'll roll back the laser itself. Okay, we will start to disassemble the M holder here and replace the gears inside. For the lower CA rig, I will attempt to access it while it's in a lifted position, because right now it's quite difficult to get in there and remove that single screw. And I need the tray to be out for that. So again, very finicky work. Try not to touch anything here. And then disconnect it. I have accessed this part before, so it should not be that difficult to remove again. Let's do it a bit more. There we go. Sorry for being a bit quiet, this is very finicky work. There we go. Those are for the bottom parts. Then we need to remove the motor part. Came out easily. And last one should also come out easily. Yep. The thing is, it gets stuck to the magnet on the side here, so that's why it's a bit more difficult to get out. Okay, notice the orientation of the gears, and again only tilt the motor slightly as you remove the M holder. There we go. Then we'll put it down quickly. There we go. Now let's try to see if we can put this M holder back, and it's very finicky work. Do not drop the gears. Let's check the orientation. It needs to sit like this. There we go. Orientation looks good. Okay, let's see how it looks. Here, does it flush? Yeah. Good. So same procedure as last time. Make sure these can travel. They do travel, nice. Okay. Okay, I need to stabilize my fingers because okay, do not over tighten because you don't want to destroy the M holder. Do not over tighten that either. And then comes the copper part. Maybe it's easier to put in this first. Come on. There we go. Again, do not drop this screw. There we go. Just thread it. There we go. That's it. Now when this has been assembled, let's just double check that everything is on point and flush. Nothing must be sitting in any awkward position. Looks good. I can notice the threaded hole here for the shaft. We need to align it again in the right direction when we plug in the laser. So let's get ahead with doing that. And here it's important that we take the metal plastic tab on the right side. It needs to be underneath the metal here, so we can then position this correctly. Yeah, looks good. Then let's screw in the shaft. And I'll have to take out this entire piece once again to replace the lower CA rack. But for now, we can just try to clean it a little bit down there and hope that that will be enough to actually fix that, because there's not that much of an issue at the bottom. It's just a bit annoying. So let's just do that there. And then verify that we have flow on the lower part. Yeah, it travels fine. Very good. Then we need to reassemble the top part here. For the top part here, I'm going to lubricate the C-rack. Just going to add some small drops here and there. Very important, get something out of the edge. Also here, and then we want to apply some grease in here. And also up here. Just a film layer, nothing big. And for the other part I'll need to apply some lithium grease to the shaft. And just gently another film layer on this too. Too much and the laser assembly will just push it around. And this is just as finicky as it was before, and now there are less points that we can touch, but I should be able to slide it in this way. There you go. Be careful not to mess anything up while we're doing it. Get this thing in here. Yeah. Let's see if we can move this into position. This is always the more difficult part. There's some locking bits on the end here we need to align. There we go. It's not really there yet. There we go, now it's in. Good, and then we want to plug in the wire. Oh, the blue wire's cut in. I had to cut that out of the video because I had to put my head in all over the place. We'll install this part here, the grounding. Installed. Now the crucial part is getting the spring back into position. This can be quite finicky as well. There we go, now it's installed. And then we have to put back this piece. There you go, installed. And now this one here too. Yeah, should be it. And everything looks fine here. Spring is back into place. The wire's in, this is in. I guess it was time to just test it out and see if it actually works. Okay, let's reassemble the top part. There we go. Turn the power back on. Cool. looks like it's operating. It looks like it's operating fine on side A. Not much there. Let's try to forward to next chapter. Yeah, looks great. And let's try to change the side B. Still the same noise, but that could be due to either the loop issue of alignment, or it could also be the tilt behind here. So if I touch that, yeah, you can hear that it makes more noise when I touch it. So it's probably a one spring. And we have a skipping issue here. Of course, I need to fix that sometime. The fix is to adjust the alignment till here, and also the black screw needs to be unlocked a little bit, and then we can adjust it very finely and try to fix it that way. It's very finicky work, but it will fix the looping issue. Last but not least, we need to reassemble the whole unit again. That concludes the video of replacing the upper tilt plate and the M holder and pinion gears. Of course, there's still more to be fixed on this machine here. As you've heard, it still does some clattering when playing on side B and a little bit on side A. It's actually quite diminished on side A now, but that clattering can be entirely blamed on the timing of the pinion gear from the cam gear. That cam gear is the one that you adjust to fix that loop issue that is so well known with these kind of players. And once that has been aligned, the clattering should also stop, because the timing will then be corrected so it doesn't skip a tooth while it's hunting and then actually causing that loop issue. So that could be a project for next video. But for now, I'd like to say thank you for watching, and I hope that you find the information that I provided in this video and the showcasing useful for your own projects with the DVL 909. Subscribe if you want to, like if you want to. I'll be happy to keep you there in the loop if anything is coming up with a new project. Cheers.